Everyone, welcome to the 7th episode of our season 4 of the Zoom Garden Plot. Tonight, we're going to start with, as we usually do, with introductions, and we have a couple new guests here, so we want to say hello to everyone. I see Liz, you're new. Do you want to say hello and where you're from? And
Oh, hi. Sure, no problem. Yeah, I'm brand new. My husband and I moved to Warwick May last year, and this only been this summer. We've actually started gardening and just sort of getting outside a lot more. We've been in an apartment for way too long, so we've been raring to go. And we actually started a couple beds in our front yard, and most of it is actually, no, pretty much all of it is pollinator-friendly plants too. We're trying to stay to native plants as well, so this is so cool.
Great.
welcome. You're exactly the kind of person we want. And please ask questions left, right, and center. That helps everybody because lots of people will watch the recording. And Athena and Lily, do you want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I don't know now. Can everybody see us or hear us?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't. So this is Lily and Athena. So and the sounder going on, if you can hear it. So Lily, I'm just speaking for Lily. She can speak for herself. Mom, you can tell everybody about yourself, your garden.
Hi, I'm very happy to see everybody. I like a garden very much. I see my life, garden, read, music. This is my.
Very good.
Right.
Thank you, Lily. And in a minute, we're going to get a lot more introduction because your daughter sent 3 pictures, and of course, a picture says 1,000 words. So we'll look at your garden and we'll hear a lot more from you. Is there anyone? Let's see. I'm Michael. I've been on all of these, most of them since the beginning, and Chad and Mark and Christy and I are help run this. Carmen and Gillian, do you want to just say a couple words about yourselves?
Carmen and Gillian.
So I'm Carmen. My husband is Joey Basta. We're at Benedict Park Community Garden, and I like to be a part of this community and learn more about planting and gardening and what works, what don't work, and see it grow.
That's perfect. We need gardeners at all levels, and so we're so happy you're here. And Gillian?
Me? Hi, I'm Gillian. I've been with you guys for a while. I help run the rural local Greenwood Lake, and I've got a pretty good garden this year. I'm really shocked. It's doing well. That's really all I've got.
Okay.
So I've coerced Gillian to present next session.
Yes.
We'll look forward to that.
Yes.
You'll see a couple shots. You'll see a couple.
I didn't read his initial message until this morning when it was too late to go out and take pictures.
Very good. So we're going to have garden updates. One is from Mark, and Mark sent a lot of pictures, and we just got 3 pictures in from Lily. So we'll have a little update from her garden. Then we have announcements and a couple show and tell and some questions. So at this point, we're going to turn the floor over to Mark, who's with the community garden. The town of Montgomery has a conservation advisory council, and Warwick does not have a conservation advisory council, I don't believe. At least it's not very active, but some towns do, and theirs apparently has this community garden. Mark, go ahead.
Okay, my name's Mark. I'm a member of the CAC Community Garden, and I'm also a member of the CAC. So I'm just going to talk about our community garden briefly, and then I'll talk about my garden specifically. So the first picture is a sign that we put in a couple of years ago to show, the community garden from the CAC. We put it on a nice post. It looks really nice. It used to be at the entrance, but we switched the entrance around, so now it's at the back of the garden. The second picture you see is the community area. We have plots. The way we work in the community gardens, we have our own individual plots. There's 20 by 20. There's a few 20 by 30. You rent the plots. You keep the same plots every year, and it's very independent. You can grow whatever you want. You do whatever you want. It's actually fiercely independent. People, their plot is their plot. But we do have a common area where the apple trees are, where there's blueberries, where there's a butterfly pollinator garden, blackberries, some grassy area, picnic tables and stuff, and that's maintained and run by the everyone in the group. So we don't, everyone, we have, you can't even pick anything from somebody else's garden. It's like there's rules, like, just whatever they're growing is what they're growing, let them alone. That's how it goes. So this is the common area again. So the bottom left picture is the blueberry patch. We have a gardener who goes there with her husband and another gardener and puts a net over it to protect it from the birds. It needs a little bit of a little more mulching. One of the plants, it needs a little more fertilizer, a little more care, but it's producing a ton of berries this year. I just picked some last night. They were very good. The one in the upper right-hand corner, that's the blueberry. I'm sorry, the blackberry patch. That looks pretty good. We had another member who pruned it and did a really good job getting that in shape. And then to the bottom right is the bee and butterfly garden, and that's maintained by a gardener named Terry, and she is just a fantastic. She's very, I don't know what I'm doing, but she knows what she's doing. She does a great job, and she just runs the bee and butterfly garden. It's a beautiful little spot in the corner in the community section, and she does a great job with that. So
Lovely.
yeah, it's really nice. If you guys ever want to go up there, just let me know. I'll let you in. It's and you can take a look at it. So this is my plot. This is my specific plot. This is my actually, let me just preface that I don't have 3 plots. My wife and my neighbor have 1 plot. I share a plot with another friend, and then I have my own plot, but we're like a community within a community garden. So the 3 of us kind of work our 3 plots together, and we let each other pick out each other's plots and everything like that. We have our own little community within a community. So this is my wife and my neighbor's plot, and this is basically where we grow our tomatoes. The 5 of us grow our tomatoes. So you can see on the right-hand side, there's tomatoes in the cage. They're doing better, but they're still a little weak. And then on the left-hand side, we put a barrier of dill and on one side and marigolds on the other. On the dill we use because it's supposedly good with the tomato hornworms. It attracts the parasitic wasps, the hornworms that lay the eggs on the hornworms, and the marigolds are supposed to be good companion plants. So we do that. It's also a barrier to keep the bindweed from coming in because we have a lot of bindweed in that plot. And we heavily mulch. It's permaculture. I bought my plants from Burpee this year. I would have recommended them. I advise against buying from Burpee. They're expensive. You could probably get them better local, and I'm really disappointed in the quality this year. The plants were really in bad shape, especially the stems. I don't know what was wrong with them. I nursed them back to health. I probably should have thrown them out and got new ones, but now we're suffering the consequences because they're really not in good shape. But they'll make it. I'm just disappointed because they're usually in better shape by this time of the year. So the next slide would be, let's see. Okay, that is, okay, that's the plot that I share with my friend Lynn. Again, the 5 of us all share together, or the 4 of us, I guess, all share together. But this is the plot where we have, if you look on the upper left, that's the row of potatoes with some basil in the front. The basil I got from Burpee too, and it's again, the plants weren't very good. The middle picture shows a row of patty pan and zucchini squash. There's 8 hills of that. And then to the left of that is another picture of the potatoes. I got them in the ground about the middle of May, and they're doing really, really well. I'm starting to see some issues with the Colorado potato beetles. They're starting to defoliate it, but I'm just hand picking the bugs off the plants for now. And because we're an organic garden, we can use organic sprays and stuff, but we can't use chemical pesticides or non-organic pesticides. For me, it's just as easy to pick. I see a lot of ladybugs in there, so between me and the ladybugs, we're trying to keep the population down so they don't defoliate too bad. And then the upper right is the onions we planted. I have 2 patches of them. One is red and one is yellow, and they look like they're doing pretty good. I gave them a top dressing of fertilizer, and I like to keep them very heavily watered. They like a lot of water and they like rich soil. And then in the bottom right is another view of that with the bean patch in the front. So we have like a 4x4 bean patch, and then that's the yellow tomato, yellow onions behind it. So that's it for that plot. I may have, let's see. Okay. Okay, so this is the last plot that we shared. This is really my plot. This is my original plot. So this is a mix of everything. It's a mishmash. I got herbs. I got some beds that I'm just cover cropping now. I have some flowers. I have comfrey. I have peppers. It's just a mishmash. They're smaller beds, and I just I change it year to year. I keep some things perennial, but I change it year to year and change things up. So on the left-hand side is a mint plant. And if you look in the middle, you can see a bottle of water. I bought these clay spikes that you stick in the ground and you put a bottle of water. It's supposed to help between drought, between dry periods, because the mints are in plastic containers. So they can dry out. So, and mints like to be kept wet. So I use those spikes and I put the 2-liter soda bottles in it. So far they're pretty good, but the ones I got on Amazon are kind of cheap. So already 2 of them have cracked and broke. I have to get some monster glue in there and repair them. And then around the marigolds is a direct seeded alyssum, the white flowers. And just behind that is the direct seeded marigolds just behind the mint. And they're starting to come in. They always look patchy. It looks like kind of like it's a bald man in reverse. It's like they look real patchy. They come in and then they kind of fill in and get nice and within a month or two the bed will be filled in. But right now it kind of looks a little patchy because when you direct seed, they don't always grow at the same rate. They don't always germinate at the same time. So and you don't have to be that specific, because sometimes there's a lot of seeds in one area, not so many in another, but in the end, it all balances out. So by like another 3 weeks or 4 weeks, it'll all fill in. It'll look like just one big mound of marigolds. The middle picture is an herb bed. In the pot is a rosemary. In front of that is a basil. To the left of the basil, on the left and right side, are lemon thyme. In the back is another type of lemon thyme on the left, and on the right is a lavender bush. And then just on that picture, you can see my big raised bed in the upper left of the middle picture. And then on the right here is that's the edge of my bed there, and those are my peppers. Some of them are doing okay. There's one in there you can see it's really yellow. It's really sickly. Again, I got them from Burpee, so I'm really, really harsh on them this year because you pay a lot of money for those plants. The reason I go with them is because they have a really nice variety. You get individual plants. So I get if I'm going to buy 12 plants, I get 12 different varieties just to spice it up and to test things out. And I've been buying from them for like 40 years. I mean, the longest time. And this year it's just a disaster. So I'm really down on them. I'm going to have to, there's a place in New Jersey I'm going to go to. It's called Chili Plants. It's about it's near Stockton, New Jersey, I think. It's near Flemington. And I went online, I saw the plants they have there, and they have like 180 varieties of tomatoes and like 190 varieties of peppers. And I'm going to take a trip down there next year and pick some up. If I do that, I'll post, and if anyone wants me to pick anything up from, I'll gladly pick something up from. If you see a variety that you want, down there. So in the upper left-hand corner here is like a main walkway. There's white clover as a ground cover, and to the right and left, up against the raised beds on that upper left-hand picture, is parsley, flat leaf parsley. I got, I think, 9 plants in there. I'm going to put a couple more because I really like parsley a lot. I throw it in everything I use. The middle picture in the lower part is 2 eggplants and a pepper. That pepper I got from Bonnie plant. That's doing much better. You can see the difference. And then in the upper part of the picture is my little strawberry patch that I think I'm going to put in my raised bed, the really big raised bed. I might use those. Those are volunteer strawberries that started growing in my garden. I might use them, or I'm not sure. My daughter tried some and she said they were really sour. So I don't know. I tried them and they weren't that bad. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them or if I'll just buy like a real variety instead of the volunteers. We'll see what happens. But if those are the ones that I mentioned, if anyone wants any volunteer strawberry plants, those things throw out a ton of runners. And if anyone wants some, I'll capture some in some pots and I can send them to you. The upper picture in the middle, that is a bed where I put, there's a pineapple mint in the middle, and to the right is 4 dianthus or pinks. To the upper left is a tarragon, a French tarragon, which I have. And if you, Michael, if you go a little bit to your left, a little bit up, a little bit to your left, that plant right there, yeah, that's French tarragon, which is an expensive plant to buy. If you buy that in a nursery, it costs about $15. I have about 3 or 4 of them that I split the plant up. If anyone wants one, let me know. I can somehow get it to you or something. But it's got like an anise type of flavor. I know some people like it. And then in the lower portion of it, if you keep going straight down, that's a plant right there. That's another burpee plant. It's doing terrible. It's Greek oregano, and it's just like literally sitting there doing nothing. I have no idea why it's doing so bad. Anyway, hopefully it'll recover itself because oregano is pretty hard to kill. I don't know, and it'll do better. In the lower right-hand picture is that's excuse me, that's crimson clover. That's a cover crop that I'm using to enrich the soil. That little bed's, the soil got kind of weak, so I'm gonna just let it get enriched. And what I'll do is I'll take that clover, and after it flowers, to give the pollinators something to nourish them, I'll just turn it into the soil and let it rot, and it'll enrich the soil. And let's see, is there any more slides?
I think that's it.
That's it. Okay. So so it's a little bit of everything. Anyway, that's it. That's how it's going so far. So far, the peppers are doing the worst. Tomatoes are getting better, but the onions, squash, and beans and potatoes seem to be doing okay. So anyway, thanks very much.
Thank
Mark,
you.
Mark, I want
impressive.
to ask you, I can just see the edge of that metal raised bed in that
Yes.
picture over on the left. What have you
Yes.
got in there? What is that?
That's like my surplus. I got really paranoid. I didn't show any pictures of that because I got really paranoid and I bought a bunch of extra tomato plants, figuring I'm going to lose like a bunch. And I haven't lost anything yet. I haven't given up on it yet. So I just took the extra. And now I said, now what am I going to do with all these plants? So I just took them and stuck them in there as
Okay.
backup. So I'm not really using it for anything, but just backup plants in case I do get a failure, or in case my crop isn't that good. I got, maybe I think I got four tomatoes and 4 peppers in there. Just
Nice.
for
Okay, thanks.
Just a question with the burpees. You bought transplants or seeds?
transplants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Seeds I don't buy from Burpee because I buy bulk. I buy by the ounce or the quarter pound, and Burpee doesn't offer it. And so I usually buy them from Eden Brothers or Urban Farmers or Territorial Seeds. I buy them from those companies, and I buy like by the ounce, the minimum I buy. So anyway, thanks very much.
Mhm.
Thank you.
No, so everyone next, it's Lily's turn. Lily, do you want to come off mute?
Thank you.
And I'm just going to do a brief introduction. So Lily and her daughter live up in Ithaca. Athena, the daughter, teaches at Cornell. I think she's called a professor. And but she and her mom live in a trailer court, but it's separate trailers. So they have this. So Lily actually has quite a small yard, but she does a lot with it. And so Lily, with no further ado, please go ahead and tell us what we're looking at in this picture.
Yeah, I come here learn much from American. I look at your garden very different in China. China garden plant something or lower, not taller, have no raised bed. Raised bed, no raised bed. All turn soil for this roots, plant roots take oxygen, all turn soil. I very simple, my garden small and simple. I want to learn from you everyone. Oh, I plant almost 20 kind of green onion, chives, have reddish.
I can help mom. She grew a
Yeah.
lot of beets right now, and you
Right,
can
right,
see some
beets.
peas, snow pea, and sugar snap,
Right.
and asparagus. And this year we expanded to corn and sunflower and chard. And you name it, all the berries, all kind of berries. Cucumber. So here, mom, I think if I guess the purpose of this exchanging information or seeds or and plants. So mom definitely we have a lot of Asian vegetable seeds that has been very successful during the early season of the planting season. Let's say before May, right? Between mid-March to mid-May, we could actually have a harvest of Asian greens, such as tight soy. You might have heard tight soy, even some good years of pak choy, like a green Asian master. So those are, and she has this choy. I don't think I've need about it, had choy in the grocery store. So they have a really long roots, right? You can stir fry or eat raw, and leaves can be consumed at lettuce. They're so productive that, yeah, I mean, those are like our favorite. We go store to buy it. The mom grows so much, right? So those Asian greens is something really fitting in the, the gap of growing season. So we found those are worth sharing,
Lily sent us a bunch of seeds, including some kale seeds. And we've always had trouble with bugs eating our kale. We have so much kale, it's growing beautifully, and bugs are not disturbing it at all. And I'm not sure if it was some special kind of kale or what, or a special year, but we're having a ton of kale. And I think it's all from the seeds that Lily sent.
Which
But
kind you think you recognize? What kind?
I've got 2 more pictures here. Lily, when did you take these pictures?
I think it's last year I took off her.
Oh, this is last year. Okay, it's not last week.
No, sorry, but it's pretty similar right now, except for she has
Same.
corn and
Now
sunflower.
same. This picture same. This all same. Every year same way. Plant similar things same way. This year, this year, very new. All this, yeah.
So what you're seeing in the front of the row is Chinese chive, the green one. So I don't know, this like lady is funny. She keep insisting Chinese chive is the real chive, but if you have never tried, I highly recommend that we can, share.
This
too.
poppy.
She grew a ton of poppy flowers, so she harvested poppy seeds as well. Yeah,
Cucumber.
that's probably thing. Yeah, she's interested in cucumber. She has a lot of trees. Exactly like Michael said, her garden is amazingly small, but she's amazingly making produce. I think she can feed the village for sure.
You have a big garden, plant a few tomato. I have a smaller garden, plant a lot of kind of things. In China have a large population, no land, very value. So I always very crowd, plant crowd. But every year I turn 3 times soil, plant every 10 deep, 10 soil. Make not a very few buy soil. No, only my own soil, my own. I make a garbage. How to say?
But she does so
Compost.
much compost. Yeah.
Compost.
Oh,
Yeah, I have not buy soil. Only my own soil. Turn soil.
But guys, you have to see what mom put in her soil. You can wonder why her thing grows so big. So like yesterday, somebody gave her fish, right? She put all the intestines, this raw and rich stuff into the land. So I'm not surprised her soil is so good. She'll bury mussel shell. If you turn her soil filled with shells of random things.
Bible school. I'll be on vacation Bible school. Starting next week.
Oh, okay. So let's see. We're partway through. At this point, we always do a break. So we call it shimmy in place. People sit too long. You know, everyone knows it's bad for your health to sit for an hour. So we ask people like for a minute, just to stand up and move around a little bit. Don't just sit still, but stand up and move around a little bit. And then we'll come back and resume. And we'll go back to the Zoom garden plot and we'll start with the announcements and stuff. So
Mark, go dance in the rain.
Yeah, I'm gonna step outside the car.
Hi, Michael, how are you?
good.
Yeah.
After we're done recording, if you and your mom, or if you have to go or whatever, but if your mom can stay on, I'll go get Xiaotong and we'll can.
Yeah, I'll tell her. So I probably should go, but she stay. She stay. Let her.
Okay.
你说她留下，她跟你聊一会儿天。
对，到最后别挂啊！我请Xiaotong来，我们好吗？
好
，OK
他不会关，我妈不会关，所以那个你只要不要关，他就会在线。
OK
你们俩说汉语太好了。Good to see you. Yeah, leave
And you.
mom with you. Yeah.
Take care. Say hello to your family for us.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. 倒霉一会儿，
那别人说是不是？
别说话，你现在没。
不是，别的人说。
Okay, so we are back. Many of us are back. Chad, do you want to tell us about your crop swaps?
Sure. In the we have a community garden. I'm in Greenwood Lake, New York, for the Common Ground Community Garden. Oh, got some different pictures up. There you go.
Sorry. Oops.
And every Wednesday from now to the end of September, we're going to be there from 6:30 to 7:30. And anytime you have extra crops, you know how everything works. All of a sudden you have nothing, then you have 45 cucumber or 25 zucchini. You can bring it down and kind of exchange with your neighbor, meet each other, and then hopefully exchange for stuff that you maybe don't have tomatoes or cucumbers, and then we bring any extra to the food pantry on Saturday or the senior center as well. So and everyone's welcome who lives in. Sorry, Mark, probably a bit far for you, but you're always welcome to come by one day.
I'm gonna try to make.
But I know there's also Sustainable Warwick meetings that night, so don't come in the Sustainable Warwick meeting night. But you're welcome to join us.
So a couple Sustainable Warwick notes. We do have meetings on July 19th and August 16th, and those will be at Town Park. And actually, the August meeting is going to be the annual picnic, so the whole thing's just going to be a picnic. But on the July 19th, we will also, if you want to show up early and have a picnic, that's good too. And the other thing from Sustainable Warwick is we are doing compost collection, food scrap collection at the farmers market on Sundays. If you're around Warwick, and Christy and Jeff and others have set it up, it's so easy to do that volunteer. You show up from like 9 to 11:30 or 11:30 to 2, and everything is explained. And it's cool. You get to hang out and ask people for their carrot greens, and people, it's a fun thing to do. If you're interested in doing that, just email again, garden@sustainablewarwick.org, and Christy will respond to you and get you on the sign up list for that. I am hoping that we will all find a time to meet in person. Since the beginning of Zoom Garden Plot, we've only met by Zoom. And I thought about trying to meet like one of the Wednesdays when we have a Sustainable Warwick meeting at the town park, but that would interfere with Chad's Grow Local Greenwood Lake thing. So now I'm thinking maybe we should all find like a Wednesday when they have a work session at their garden. We should all show up there. If we wait too late, it's not going to be worth it. So yeah. Which day would people show up for that? Mark, what works for you? Or I guess Sylvia goes there sometimes already anyway.
The best days for me would be Tuesday. I can make a Wednesday. I have a My bass lesson's on a Wednesday. I just have to swap it out and let them know in advance. But I could, I mean, but Tuesday, open, and the second Thursday of every month, I have my CAC meeting, but beyond that, Thursdays are good, and even Fridays are good. Fridays.
But the Grow Local Greenwood Lake, their meets on Wednesdays. So
Oh,
that's
Wednesday.
that's why we were trying to pick a
Oh,
Wednesday.
gotcha. So I would just need to know, I'd have to look, and just let my, bass instructor know, like that, swap out the time and tell them I can't make the meeting, the lesson, and I just swap it out. So, I guess, what days, the Sustainable Warwick is not, the meetings are not a good time.
Right, so
I can
Yeah,
schedule,
anyone but those days.
July
yeah.
12th or July 5th?
July 5th.
Okay, we need to move.
I'll-
We need to
I'll
move along
email
with the
you.
meeting, but
Yes.
we'll be sending that out to people. We hope a lot of people can participate and we
I
can get to
appreciate
see
it.
each other
That'd
in
be
person.
nice.
Yeah, I definitely want to meet you guys in person. Absolutely.
And then, as before mentioned, there's a crop swap for Grow Local Greenwood Lake, Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30, starting day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
You can swim down to the through all the rain we're having. So, and there's one other thing, that the Grow Local Greenwood Lake has a summer potluck. Saturday, July 15th. By the way, that's going to be the day that, and I'm not going to say that publicly. But anyway, go ahead, Chad. Tell us about your potluck dinner.
Oh, no, just again, we have it at one of our board members' house. She has a beautiful pizza oven, so we just invite all people, come on down. We, again, just bring a dish. We bring some drinks, and hopefully the weather's nice. And they have wood burning oven, make some pizza, and just a great way to meet each other. So all of you, you're all welcome.
Okay, very good. And we have some questions here. So what tips can you share about dealing with too much water after a dry spell? And I'm gonna go off screen share for this one.
What was the question? Sorry, what was the question? Sorry.
Dealing with too much water after a dry spell,
Oh.
too much rain, sort of like this week.
Yeah, right.
That could become that situation. I had actually asked that question because I had found a website that said what to do in the vegetable garden after heavy rains, and it gave 9 tips. So what I'll do is I'll put the link in the chat, and you can check it out. And I just would be curious if anybody had any special.
Yeah, I never thought of it.
tips.
I just kind of got victimized by it. I never thought of actual action. And well, no, I guess that's not great. Mark does put I put a lot of straw. Mark does, but I guess that doesn't really mitigate. That probably holds the water in, actually.
Yeah. Actually, I pulled back. Oh, did I lose you? I pulled back some mulch because my roots were starting to get so saturated with all the mulch. But that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, it's like, how do you? I pulled up the website real quick, and the tips look really good. But I mean, how do you dry soil out? Okay, I mean, can't get a blow dryer to do it, right? It's like you got
Right. Usually it's the reverse problem, like when it's too dry, but when it's too wet, I don't know. I feel like victimized.
Yeah,
That's why raised beds are supposed to be helpful for that. Raised beds are supposed to have a certain natural drainage. There's the raised bed gardeners versus the flat earth gardeners.
Raised bed, you're right. Definitely, yeah.
The article that I put the link in the chat about was talking about you can implement dry creek beds or rock beds, or use plastic water drains to redirect the water. Now, didn't you do that, Chad, to redirect the water from your community garden?
Oh yeah, well, right. We had an interesting issue. When we first got our community garden, the reason it was available is because it was built on a high water table, so they couldn't even build anything on it. So we literally covered the lawn with cardboard, and then thank God the village donated like 10 truckfuls of wood chips. And so we started, before we planted anything, we were this high up. So, and then we tried to make a little drainage thing. I mean, the last 2 summers have been so dry, but now we'll see. I'll see how the garden looks tomorrow, because definitely by the sides is going to be a lot of water pooling. So we've been also trying to make I dug a little ditch that kind of filled in, but hopefully because there's a little creek by there, so try to lead the water that way. Or get water loving, it's funny, like we tried to plant water loving plants and last year was so no rain that it really defeated the purpose of all. Like the water loving plants didn't get to grow, but yeah, I mean, we mitigated being in a high water table, but it's hard when you're in a dry area and then all of a sudden it just starts raining heavily. That's a different situation.
One of the tips was try to avoid walking right next to the plants when the soil is saturated, which makes sense. You're compressing it. Yeah, and to keep an eye out for fungal or bacterial diseases
Oh,
because
yeah.
of the moisture, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fungal diseases especially, that, yeah. But I mean, I guess, what do you do if you have a bed, like what Chad's doing is great for the future, but what do you do
Yeah, exactly.
currently? Like, like that's tough because if your bed's saturated, what do you do? How do you, that's a tough one.
Well, I want to move ahead to the next question,
Mhm.
and that is, if you're weeding a bed, is it okay to leave clover in?
Yeah, no, I think. I mean, it all depends on what you're planting. Like, I mean, the clover is going to add nitrogen.
What about in an asparagus bed?
Yeah, but then it can become invasive. So if there's like,
But
if
it
you grow
doesn't
it,
act as a ground cover, isn't it just a ground cover though?
yeah, but if like, let's say you had carrots and it became invasive and started competing with the carrots, I don't know if that would be, but like a tomato plant or a pepper or something big like that, I think I would leave it in if it was something like a tomato or a pepper.
How
But if it was
deep do
like,
the roots go on
they can
clover?
go, some of them have tap roots that can go like a couple feet down.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, so they
I
can
didn't
get
realize that,
invasive.
yeah.
Yeah, and they can also like get invasive where it's hard to get rid of it. Like if all of a sudden say I don't want clover anymore, it's hard to pull that stuff out and get rid of it. So
Okay.
I would say like, yeah, but like with caution. If it's a root crop, I would kind of say maybe not, because you don't want their roots, the clover roots competing with the root crop. But if it's like a tomato or pepper or corn or something that likes nitrogen or that doesn't, it's not going to compete with it as much, maybe, but just not to let it get out of control, because then you have a whole other set of problems. And it likes to reseed too if you let it flower. And of course, everyone likes to let it flower for the bees. So,
Right.
Does-
and
Yeah. Does anyone else have a strong opinion on that subject?
oh, just Michael, really quick. If you go online, there's actually schools of thought where there's like a living mulch. I think you guys touched on it, right? We actually put clover on purpose, and but I think again that would be for like a tomato plant or a pepper, not for like a root crop. But instead of having like a mulch of straw or grass clippings, you have like a mulch of clover. They do that a lot with orchards. They'll use that in orchards, like a living mulch, because it does contribute nitrogen to the soil. But I mean, it's an apple. It's an apple competing against a clover, not like
Okay, well, let's move on to the next question. And that is, I hope we can discuss strawberries. As we recall, last week, Dorothy showed off her strawberry bed extraordinaire. It was her husband makes this beautiful bed and then made a beautiful case to go over the top. She has 25 plants in there that made 18 quarts of strawberries.
And no chipmunks.
This, folks, is a picture of my strawberry bed. This is
That
a
looks
picture
okay.
of our strawberry patch. And I want to tell you what happened. Let me tell you about the history of this strawberry patch. It used to be that just this section back here was the strawberries. And then the daughter plants and the granddaughter plants and the great-granddaughter plants, they moved in. This part actually got taken over by weeds. That's why it's mostly dug up from strawberries. But these guys they just did their own thing. Now, one of the issues is, so, here's Dorothy showing off her strawberries. Look how big they are. Ours are a little bit small. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So on our big patch, and we're still producing. I'm not sure she's still producing or not. We're still producing. I'm guessing maybe we got 18 quarts by now. But one thing I notice is on a patch of this size and with small strawberries, you have to pick 4 or 5 strawberries for each strawberry that she picks, right? It's a lot of work. There are 2 good sides to that coin. You know, one is that when you go to the store and you buy anything like a strawberry, you have to think, oh my gosh, you know, how long do they have to spend to pick this quart of strawberries? You have to think about these things. If they go to the farmer's market and they're charging a lot, you have to think somebody was hunching over to do that. The other thing is we have sometimes called over neighbors and say, hey, do you want to come over and pick some strawberries? And it's like the only time of the year we get to have a conversation with these people, right? Well, not the only time, but it's definitely a good time to have a conversation. And one of them, her grandson comes over and he finishes nap and they come over and pick strawberries. And it's just nice to hang out with the neighbors that way. So my question is, and let me tell something about the bed here. So there, when we moved in, there was a swing set here and they had done like the landscape fabric and they had, so it was like a non-grassy area. And we gave the swing set to a neighbor, not the neighbor, but the grand neighbor, the next door neighbor. And then we put down did a big sheet mulching project here. Then over time, you see, these are cedar beams. I like to tell people I got these on a huge sale at Walmart, but in fact, we dragged them out of the woods, right? They were just lying around in the woods. And so we pulled them out. So the whole thing, the borders are all cedar trunks. And you can see like here, from here down to here, that's supposed to be a pathway. Originally, it was a pathway between the strawberry bed and the other beds. And like, this is supposed to be a straw pathway here. And, you know, and it's just, no, the strawberries have taken over. So now one of the things I learned, and I want to pass this along, if I had looked at the strawberry patch and I thought, oh, they're nice and green. We're having a long dry spell, but the green in the leaves tells me they're doing fine. I don't need to especially water very much. When we did get a good heavy rain, we started getting bigger strawberries. That was a good lesson. But the other thing I've heard is like, if your strawberry plants are too old, you're going to get small strawberries. So what do we think about, you know, a little bit rejuvenating this for next year? What should the plan be? And now I'm turning the floor over to you experts.
I heard the same thing, Michael, that they kind of burn out. You got to rejuvenate them after a couple of years, the plants. How about trying to use your daughters, your strawberry daughters, to, like, you know,
who knows which is a daughter and which is the original? It's like, oh, but you know,
or
like,
the runners, take the runners and stick them into, you know, like take the runners, stick them into a pot and pot them, and then now you have your little strawberry plant. You can replace the grandmother with the little granddaughter.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Right. You can you can move the ones that are on the path.
Or
And, you
clean
know,
them out. Some of them might just be like shot. It might be time for them to no
right.
longer.
And, you know, you can move them pretty easily. Then you put them in the, you know, where you want them to be. But
I heard
we're out of
yeah.
space. We're out of space. We
Oh.
you know,
Can you cull the bad ones out? Like, just maybe
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
the ones that are really shot, just take them out and replace them with fresh ones, and give it a nice compost.
maybe okay, I will look at them closely and see if I say, oh yeah, this one is more shot than the others.
Yeah.
But generally thinning should help, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You know,
Yeah.
thin out your pathways, and you can see, as you're thinning them, you can see some of them that are just shot, and then other ones you can move to, you know, different area. And, you know, if you just wanted a certain area, just keep it there. But yeah, but they will spread. But obviously, I don't think you want this whole bed of strawberry, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm surprised weeds took over, because usually they really smother all the weeds out. I'm surprised
It was I showed pictures of this before earlier in the year. It's something that runs you know, runs underground, and comes up everywhere.
Mm.
And yeah.
Is it bindweed? We get that. We have tons of bindweed in our garden. It's so,
I forget the name.
it looks like morning glory. It's actually.
No, it's not that.
morning-
It
Okay.
comes up with just looks like grass coming up. It's just that the what's the word I want? Running underground. It's just
Like
they're all connected below.
a stolon or an underground stem or something, and
Yeah.
it runs along. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and maybe get some compost and help to rejuvenate the soil too.
Yes.
When you're transplanting, that might help too.
Okay. People seem to like these charts, so I go on AccuWeather.com. Oh, wait a minute. Did I do this? Oh, let me back up a bit. On the at the last meeting, this was their forecast for June, and then this is how it actually turned out. So we've been having pretty cool weather, and they're predicting for July that we're also going to stay below the highs. But also notice this, but we were above the lows also for most of them. They say one of the things about global warming is it's not just the highs getting higher, but the lows are getting higher much faster than the highs are getting higher, which also affects, systems. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. Do we have any other questions at this point?
Thank you, everyone. Got a lot of strawberries today. And then the next week is the second week of July, right?
Yes, the next
Second
time
Monday, yeah.
we'll present is this.
I do have a question though. I want to know who Gillian's visitor is. Is she going to come back?
Uh-oh.
Gillian, you're on mute. Can you
Just showing
you're
us.
on mute, Gillian. You're just showing the visitor, I guess.
Okay.
And Liz, do you have any questions, or Sylvia, do you have questions?
I'm pretty good myself so far. I mean, I'm just kind of taking it all in, and we're really admiring the strawberries.
Oh, if you want some strawberries, I'm happy to dig some up and give them to you.
Oh, well, that sounds wonderful.
I mean, I've got to thin the plant, right?
That sounds very tempting, but my husband just chimed in with something. We had some deer roll through, ate his one strawberry plant down, although it's recuperating. It ate my hostas completely. I know this is probably a very broad question here, but as new gardeners, how to protect some of these budding plants from
ask you for like what to do for a plant to help it recover from trauma.
Yeah, because that poor strawberry got a pretty close shave. There's a good amount of leaves left. No, you got one berry out of that.
It has berries and flowers left.
Oh, okay.
Here's a way you could do it. Here's a way you could do a small strawberry patch that would grow, and you could actually expand it. You could, and actually, if you come visit me, I've got some extra of this stuff sitting around. I could give you your first piece. You could get this fencing is 4 foot tall, and you can make like a cylinder of it. You get a 12-foot length of it, and you make a cylinder, right? A deer could jump a 4-foot fence without thinking about it, but it's not got a big enough space inside for it to land in. So you could make this cylinder. You can see, oh, how big is it? And then you could, garden in a spot that big, and you could get 5 or 10 of them.
Oh yeah, we just picked up a bunch of that wire from.
Yeah, actually, that's a good thought. I was worried that the deer could hop the fence, but that's good to know that I don't have to worry about
We'll
it.
just make a bunch of round patches.
Since they won't be able
If you pound a stake, into the soil, and then connect this fencing to that stake, or maybe you even want 2 per thing, or 2 or 3 even. Actually, it might be good to do 3, and you sort of connected it to 3, but you leave 1 open, so that would be your gate for getting in and out.
Okay, gotcha. All right. And it's just as well because we have this very weird shaped lawn. We're trying to gradually turn the lawn into garden, or at the very least flowers or something like that, make it useful. So we're just dotting it with all these random little beds, and that'd be nice. A few round patches.
Yes, I want to, I
like
like the
that.
idea of some strawberry.
Yes, we do want some berries. The poor yard just hasn't had a lot of love lately, so we're just kind of throwing everything in there, seeing what
Well, we haven't
takes.
been able to, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
before us.
Yeah, before us. Oh yeah, no love.
And
It's
then
got
it
love
was.
now. Okay, but now thank you very much.
Okay, most welcome. And by all means, Liz, if you have questions like this, it's really nice if you email them to us so that they get put on the PowerPoint slide.
Oh, sure.
And then they discussed
Send
discussed
pictures
early
as
in the
well if
meeting.
you could.
And
Yeah.
especially if there's a picture with a question, that's worth 1,000 words. You get
I
bonus
hadn't
points for
even
that.
realized we did PowerPoints here, so I just saw a link for submitting pictures. So I thought people just, I don't know what I thought. But now that I know, oh, okay, there's PowerPoints. Okay, I see. Because I've been trying to document, we don't have a garden book yet, but it's just easier to literally just take pictures and label them on the photo itself where everything is. And because we just want to see what's going to work for next year. So yeah, next time we have to show off the beds.
Very good.
That
Very
might
good.
be me.
We'll have to weed them. since we have-
We'll beat them to over. That's for us to deal with. But thank you though.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you everyone for joining the Zoom garden plot this week. And we will look for you the second Tuesday of July. I'm sorry, the second Monday of July. It's July 10th. That'll be. So between then and now, have a good 4th of July Independence Day holiday, and we'll see
Bye-bye.
you later. Take care.
Bye-bye.